conversation. I don't have time for that.
We have stuff going on tonight I don't know about. It's like, well, this is good. Randomly fluctuating half an hour. Just my positive for today. I'm trying to wait. For our cemetery conversation later. Information.
Thank you.
Yes.
Where are these from?
Good.
Everyone's got something different on them.
Yep, everybody just randomly selects one.
Everyone's what?
Ladies passed out to and Rhonda, Gary. Nice. You'll like it. Good.
Okay, 7 o'clock. We're going to call the meeting to order on time tonight.
Oh, I'm missing something.
Call to order. Gary?
Here.
Rhonda?
Here.
Ken's here.
I'm here.
Trustee's here. She's leaving. Beverly?
Here.
Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's see, we did.
We're going to use those later.
Oh,
Yeah, that's for later.
is there just,
It's just a PowerPoint presentation that I thought would help us when we go work on some of the cemetery
there
stuff.
wasn't enough? Gary didn't get one.
Darren got one.
Did he?
Yep.
Oh, he got one, okay.
Okay, item number D, agenda. Is there any discussion on the agenda? Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Gary made a motion. Can I get a second?
I'll support.
Beverly supported. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All not in favor say nay. Ayes got it. Public comment?
Hi, I'm Jacob Biljack. I'm with the Banker.
There's a mic right over there. Everyone can hear you then,
Alright, gotcha.
especially us deaf people up here.
Alright, hi, I'm Jacob Biljack. I'm with the Van Buren Conservation District. I'm just here to give you a quick update on Conservation District stuff, and then I'll turn you over to Callie, who will give you a recycling update. So first off, before the meeting, we were kind of talking about trash and tires. We do have a report it button on our website. It's a report of concern. There, people, municipalities, anyone can go and report tires on the side of the road, trash and waterways, anything like that. That lets us know so we can appropriately respond to that. And then we also share that information with the Road Commission, who will also partner with us or handle it themselves. We also have a cleanup on the Calhaven Trail September 18th from 1 to 3. It's open for the public to join. It's just with COVID and everything, we've stopped doing our community cleanups, and we're bringing it back. We're excited to do that, get out in the community and make our spaces cleaner, better. So that's it for me. I'm gonna turn you over to our recycling coordinator, Callie.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having us tonight. So just sharing a couple updates. So we do have a couple tire and electronic recycling events coming up. We are going to be at the Bangor Township Transfer Station on September 20th. And then we are going to do our final recycle roundup of this year in Lawrence on October 15th. So I'll leave these yellow sheets towards the door for you guys if that's okay. At that October Recycle Roundup, we are introducing styrofoam recycling, which we're super excited to start this program. I know, super excited about it. So, and that will start next year at all 3 of our Recycle Roundup events. And then I also brought some recycling guides for you guys too. These just have a bunch of resources on various materials and how to recycle them. Wanted to share exciting information too. We got our statistics in from our Pawpaw Recycle Roundup from this year. We had a record number of attendees, a total of 402 attendees this year. That's just over a person per minute that we serviced. And that we collected, that's about 1,300 passenger tire equivalents and 4,800 pounds of shred paper and 24,929 pounds of household hazardous waste. So that includes things like paint and chemicals and pesticides people still have laying around from who knows when. So we were super excited about that, and and 9,340 pounds of electronics. So that is a lot of materials we saved from our landfills and our waterways and our environment. So we were super excited for those events. I would love to have you all join us in the future. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us. And our information is all over these handouts. I think my cell phone number's on the recycling flyer, or you can get a hold of us through email or any means you are able to.
And we actually have their most recent newsletter is in the board packet.
Oh, wonderful. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you all, and thanks for getting us in a little early.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to make a public comment? Go ahead, Karen.
Okay. It should go without saying, but my public comments are made as an independent citizen. They include facts to the best of my knowledge as well as my own opinions. I most often agree with this public body that as iron sharpens iron, I believe it is healthy to question and hold public officials accountable for the betterment of all. Frankly, I wish more citizens would stay engaged and share their viewpoints as well. On the consent agenda, I think I was able to talk to the clerk ahead of time on a couple. So the only things I have left, I don't know if they're more a question for Dave or for the board. The emergency services pay, there's a new schedule in there. What I couldn't tell is if everyone on the list is impacted or if there's just a couple changes on the list. For the expenditures, there was a line item for house number signs, and maybe if Dave could speak on what the procedure is now. I'm not really sure. I think it may have changed over the years for who pays for them and who installs them, but I think the fire department's involved yet. As I think you can tell from the agenda, there's quite a few different topic lines for the cemetery. That's a big item tonight. Although I don't think that it was mentioned on last year's survey or the capital improvement plan, with fresh eyes, the cemeteries have since been identified as areas in need of attention and funding. I look forward to hearing from Sexton Douglas regarding the cemetery conditions that he inherited. According to CPA's financial reports, we spent approximately $20,000 in fiscal year ended 2020 and $23,000 in year ended 2021. The audit is not complete yet for the year ended 22, but according to internal reports, approximately 23 was spent. Trustee Gruss requested budget updates I think last month, for the current fiscal year, that runs from April 22 to March 23, and Supervisor Speicher provided a budget summary update through the first quarter. We have already spent $23,000 at 25% of the year, which is 71% of our already increased annual budget of $41,440. I'm grateful that we have some software tools to enable better budget management now than we used to have. Those of us that saw this coming did object to some non-essential spending in the cemetery, but a closer look at the details will help decide where spending can be cut to minimize overruns this fiscal year. It would be unfair to bidders, I'm thinking, though, to trouble them for, quote, for unaffordable work unless they know it's for budget purposes. I think it is a great idea to form a cemetery committee to determine priorities and develop an affordable plan over several years. The township could definitely use more volunteers and donations towards cemetery care. In reading the cemetery ordinance, that looked great. I do have questions. Does the township have a legal option to discontinue perpetual care of cemeteries?
No.
Okay. And later on in the ordinance, it talks about if people haven't used their spot after 40 years, that they could lose that spot. And I think there's a question of whether or not it'd be regular mail or registered mail. It seems worthwhile to do that by registered mail to give them a chance. As far as budgets in general, I'm encouraged to see that Supervisor Speicher is monitoring overall budget. A former official just recently mentioned to me that since the majority of local tax collection occurs in February each year, so it's not like all year that we're collecting, it's typically the biggest chunk is in February. With budgets finalizing in March, MTA always recommended reserving a year and a half because of that time frame. I'm glad to see more long-term forecasting by this administration. It is more prudent to plan for the worst while hoping for the best, especially during seasons of inflation and recession. Thank you.
Will somebody else leave it here? Yeah, just leave it.
Anyone else? Public comment? Hearing none, we're gonna move on to consent agenda. With the consent agenda, we have meeting minutes. We have a previous special board meeting of August 6th. We have an updated emergency service employee position and pay rates. We have expenditures, treasury report, and the calendar. Is there any discussion on any of those items by the board members?
The only question I had was, didn't we already do the emergency services thing like a month or so ago? So why are we updating?
There were a couple of things that got missed,
Okay.
so we are updating those, and I will tell you which ones they are.
Two things we're updating, right?
Actually, there were a couple, so there were more than two, there were a few. They're under the Grubers, were added the training pay, somehow we missed that. Steven Civic, we had, a board motion, the month after to put him on there, so I just added him.
Mm-hmm.
And then for Kimberly Robertson and Paulette, Milky, we added the, daytime rates, ES pay rates, and adjusted their, Kim's daytime rate.
So this basically just states what their rates are when they're doing that specific
Correct.
category of work.
Yep.
My only question was, this was submitted by Dave, right? So this is up to date now currently from what it should be? Yes. Okay, yeah. Yeah. I thought maybe some of it was the rate, because they elevated to another service rate.
No.
But, okay,
We just updated it because there's one person not being paid.
yeah. That's not fair.
No. No.
Yeah. Okay, I had some questions about, unpaid invoices, what I looked through, but those were answered. So I'm okay with that. I don't see a situation there. I also had a couple of, questions about checks that were paid out. And those were answered as well. Bank balances, I don't have any questions about. I'll save any of my other things for, board comments. So I'm okay with the items in the consent agenda myself. Can't speak for everybody.
Anyone else? Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Beverly made the motion. Can I get a second?
I second.
Rhonda second. Roll call vote. Gary?
Yes.
Rhonda?
Yeah.
Christie?
Yes.
Bev?
Yes.
And Ken is yes. Item G. We have a number of informational reports. This is a time where those that are here that would like to discuss something on their report, they can make a statement. Kurt, you're on.
Hey, our favorite commissioner.
I'm not gonna hand these out first, because you'll be looking at it while I'm talking about something else. Beverly mentioned what's going on at Palisades, and actually, a couple weeks ago, we met with, the president of Holtec was out there at Palisades, and they had a transfer of power, I guess, to Holtec. And, he's kind of under the impression that, and I don't know if it happened in my lifetime, but that they're gonna come up with some type of a small reactor they can put out there and still generate some power, but that's quite a ways down the road, I believe. I don't think what the governor is trying to do, I'd be very surprised if that would come back, because I don't, the people are leaving, I don't think some can, after being out there, they're just, how.
A lot of my friends all retired, and
Right.
a lot of them were like in their 50s, they retired.
And then also with these mini, generators, that they're gonna do the reactors, they can also use, they're gonna try to use the old fuel rods to power them, because they don't need as much or something like that, so stay tuned for that, might happen in our lifetime yet, but I don't know. Then, I heard something you guys mentioned about the number signs for houses. Dave, have you guys ever done anything with, trying to get something going with people, some kind of a program or anything? Because I sure like to get involved in it. I have the other townships too, they all complain about, sending out, you guys go out, the ambulance go out, the sheriff's department go out, and sometimes we just can't find it.
If your house is on fire, we're gonna find it.
Yeah, you probably, yeah, right, yeah, but I mean, the other ones, yeah.
If you're having a heart attack,
Night.
Right, and, is there, you guys ever done anything?
that's what the signs are purchased for. And forgive me, I don't know the exact numbers, I wasn't ready for the question exactly. I think when I did the math, the signs work out to be about $14 to $16 a piece, we sell them for $25. The folks install, firefighters install them.
Well, if you come up with anything, keep me in mind, I'm really glad to help out with that type of thing.
I don't know what you wanna do, but we've got the plates and the templates and the numbers, so.
I thought Derek about it one day too, and the same thing. I thought maybe we'd do some hard performance with that. Nobody ever listened to that, so, okay.
I wasn't.
David's like, purple fudge.
You offer now? Oh, so all I have to do is come and sign up?
Just
Hey, Kurt.
Call the fire
the
department?
staff hours, give them your address, they'll make the sign.
Great, I didn't know that. Terrific. Thanks, Kurt.
Kurt's not gonna give you one.
I'll just accept whatever it is. It is what it is.
So, my district, which is District 2, covers Geneva, the city of Bangor, Columbia, Arlington, and Breedsville. And, the total parcels that came up with 7,887 parcels. And then of those, they're calling gap parcels, which I think is on even information you have on, the county, or the township. 1,485. So, unfortunately, District 2 is the highest percentage of, area not covered. But, that being said, 63%, with RDOF and Reconnect funding that already is in place, that, we've heard Bloomingdale talk about it, and one of the other ones, there's still 26% overall of my area that's not covered. And the fellows that, the company that did this map, they estimate the total, for District 2 is, 7.7 million to 14.6 million. Depends on how it works out. So, if you would turn to page, your first page, I guess, page 30, you can pretty much see that, Columbia Township is kind of one-sided. So, total parcels, like this 3,060, undeveloped, 1,175, occupied, 1,885, unserved, 1,527. And then the grant funded, as you can see, parcels there at 833. So that still leaves in the township 694 parcels. And you were number one because you were the highest township unserved at 81%. So it's number one something. So
better than being number 2.
Yeah. Yep. So what's going to go on? As you can, the next couple pages that you have, shows some of the areas that are the grant programs are in, and if you have any questions, come up with give me a call or any you see maybe some errors, you think something's not right, you get a hold of the county and talk to them, and we're pretty sure most of it's good, good, but there's always room for improvement. So what's going to happen right now is, today I was at a Southwest Michigan Planning Commission meeting, and we're like number one in Berrien County for this information. Berrien County is, after we did this, they decided to do it, so they're going to be catching up with us pretty soon. And Cass County is looking to do it. Well, that being said, we feel that we have a better chance of getting more funding going in as a region rather than as county. And there's so much money out there right now. The state and the feds have all these funds. So we're actually going to have one of our people from Nexus is going to be traveling to Lansing to try to work to get our share of these funds. And we don't know who's going to run this yet. But the company that did this, we asked them if they wanted to do it. They came back with a price that was pretty hefty. So we got a day rate, I think, from them to help us out if we'd like need them to go to Lansing or something like that. So I guess at this point, it's kind of like stay tuned, and as the funds come in, we can get this done. Like we said before, we had all the money right now to order the stuff. It's going to take a while, and to get it, put in the ground, take another while. So if you come up with any questions, give me a holler. So Beverly, are you covered up here?
Not exactly. My little region was excluded.
So, and actually I have a question about that.
Yeah.
Has the county heard at all from MEC about what their plans are? Because we've heard nothing.
Well, actually, there's 7 ISP providers, of which they're one of them.
Right.
And, so, once we figure out what we're doing in funding, we're going to reach out to all those providers. And of course, you got the problem where, well, you got this one over here, you can't get in their territory.
Yep.
2 years ago, before this even started, we were at a meeting and asked, so, what do you guys have in mind? Well, we can't tell you, there were 3 different providers there. Well, those are our business plans, we can't tell you what the business plans are. So, they've kind of toned that down a little bit, so, but once we can determine where all our funding is coming from, like I said, we set aside $7 million, that's just a drop in the bucket.
Right.
The total for the whole county they've got on here is, should be from 30 33 to 64 million, so that's, depends upon how everything is done. So that's quite a chunk of change that we're looking for.
Kurt, I was wondering why Frontier didn't show up on here. Is this only people that have promised to do broadband that are showing up?
Is this the township property? That little bitty gray spot?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Shadow Lake.
Good question.
Shadow Lake. Yep, that's Township. We're not getting internet.
Is that a dialogue? Or is that?
That's DSL, yeah.
So maybe
That's the only option you have is Frontier and to use their DSL.
Okay, so maybe
Better than
I think
satellite.
it's a question I will ask and see what they say, but it could be that because of the different, method that they're using now.
Well, this is a straight up.
Because they haven't promised to do, they're not even promising, they're not even talking about, they're talking about,
Like this.
they won't support
And then
landlines as they go
this way.
out, and you'll do the voice over, on their internet, which,
Exactly. Yeah, I will ask.
like, shut up.
That's the road.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions? Thank you.
Anyone else on information reports? Justin?
Today there was a township briefing entering a 50-first Street hate entering. Somebody tried to use a crowbar against somebody's door, there's some marks and stuff, but they didn't have any cameras and there's, no fingerprints full. If you don't have cameras, probably be a good idea to get one soon, because there's been a lot, basically every day there's breaking and entering and larcenies, so. Try to protect yourself.
If you don't have internet, there's cameras.
Dave?
Signs for 20, signs with a post for 27, that's all.
I think that's very reasonable.
100 from the county. Signs for 50 and 57 with a post. You go to the, and get a house number for a parcel of property, and it's $100, and I'm like, what's that for? You get a house number sign, for $100.
Yeah.
Buy it from our fire department.
Well, we got it in our fire department too, so. I recommend going to the fire department.
Well, maybe you should buy one from each. You're our road commissioner.
Stay on track, Beth.
We are.
You've gotta be.
Any other, information reports going?
Yep, done.
Doug is.
Just normal business going on. We're on started second round of roadside mowing. Seal coat is winding down. They're in Almena and Antwerp Township right now working. County Road 380, which we rebuilt all the way to Custer Township, and then in the Bloomingdale Township is, I believe, completed up to 665, so that's a nice connection all the way from M43 over by South Haven. I think they were grading your roads today for dust control, maybe tomorrow. They're supposed to be scraping roads
Didn't
today.
see anyone out there.
Well, if not, they're gonna be here very shortly.
Okay.
They've been busy replacing failed culverts. We have failed culverts all the time. Our September meeting has been rescheduled. It's supposed to be September 7th. It's gonna be the 14th at 6 o'clock. And County Road 384 bridge over the Black River by 68th Street, between 68th and M43 is repair and maintenance is being done on that, and it's expected to be completed October 1st. I'm not sure if the bridge is completely closed or not. Do you know, Dave?
It was.
It is?
It was. I don't know if it is today, but.
What's that, sorry?
The bridge on,
Over on 384 over the Black River, is that completely closed? Still closed. 100%.
Okay, it's expected to be completed by October 1st. So, that's about all I have.
Thank you.
thanks,
Got
Doug.
any questions or concerns, get a hold of us and we'll do what we can.
Got a question or concern?
The last I knew, has there been an excavator in there, do you know? There was an excavator, yeah. They rented what they call a long stick, which has a lot more reach, to try and take care of it, and the county trappers are looking at it.
Was the issue that the trappers had to have a certain amount of insurance, and I read that on Facebook, it must be true.
I don't think so, it's the county that.
And they couldn't get the county contract because they didn't have the $2 million in trapper insurance?
I don't know anything about that. Been trapping all the counties, so that's true. But, like you said,
It cleared it out quick, as soon as that, cleared that out, it took it off the road.
But, is he still there? Gonna have it dammed up again tomorrow or the next day, or who knows? Whole thing, well, they can cover the whole thing. If they want a dam there, you're not gonna stop them until you take care of them. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Electrocute them.
Yeah, it's a road.
Little toaster in there.
Can you relocate them, or is it legal? They're saying that doesn't work.
Information reports, last chance.
I did just want to point out that, Steve Shults sent in a last-minute report, so I threw that on the agenda last minute in case the board members didn't notice.
Okay, moving on to H, unfinished business.
Department report speaker.
Did I miss him? What'd I miss?
Department report speaker, that would be our sexton.
Where's that at?
H1.
H1.
Where's H1?
I don't know, what did you do? Where did you print that from?
Online agenda.
Tara, can you scroll up just a little?
And a previous one,
Yeah, it was, yeah.
What's that?
No, other way, sorry.
The other row.
Keep on going. Oh, further, there we go. And, board members do have a copy.
You must have changed that.
I need to use this handy dandy
It is helpful, yeah.
microphone.
Is it on? Okay.
Township karaoke.
Yeah.
Well, there it is.
So, for those of you out there that don't know me, my name is Michael Douglas. I am the new sexton. That just means I take care of the cemeteries. So I started in March, and so this report is everything that pretty much I have done since I've taken over in March. In Grand Junction West, which is right behind the hall here, we've had 2 casket burials and 1 casket burial as well in Breedsville. And I think I put down 2 cremation burials in Breedsville. I believe we've also had 3 cremation burials in Breedsville and not 2. And we'd have a cremation burial in Grand Junction West back here as well. Not too much activity on the east side and in Thompson. Foundation pours, when I first started, there was tons of foundations that needed to be poured, waiting from the winter time. Spent a lot of time doing that. We had 7 right back here in Grand Junction and 4 in Breedsville. And due to lack of documentation and mapping, 2 foundations were poured in the correct spot where the maps and documentation was, but talking to families and going over that with them, they were not in the correct spot and the mapping was way off. So we had to re-pour 2 foundations, and there's actually 2 foundations back here in Grand Junction, right behind the hall here that either need to come out or just sitting there waiting for hopefully a headstone to go on top of it. Early this year, all the military flags have been replaced, and I was kind of dreading doing that, to be honest with you, because Breedsville is a pretty big area, and a weekend I decided that I'm just going to take my wife and my kids out there and made them help me do that, and surprisingly, they had a fun time doing it. I asked my daughter, I said, "Did you have fun?" She said, "Well, it's not the funnest I've had, but it's something to do." So that was done. We have completed 15 mowings for each of the cemeteries so far, and that has been, in my mind, high. For 2 weeks out of the summer, we ended up skipping the cemeteries because it was so dry. And I really thought we would have skipped more, but we've gotten a lot of rain and the grass is just growing quite a bit. And I really do think that towards the end of the fall, that will slow down. So you should see a reduced amount of mowings and a reduced budget for the mowing part. Now, so repairs and needs, now this is just my opinions. We don't have to do all of this stuff. This is just what I'm seeing out there on an everyday basis. So number one, big one, the flagpoles in the Breezeville are in need of being either replaced or repaired. Both flags out there are not currently up. Both of the poles are broke. And we've had multiple complaints from people at the cemetery about that, so that is an issue that needs to get fixed, probably sooner than later. At the Breezeville Cemetery, also, the sign that is right out front is made of wood, and you can barely read when it says Breezeville Cemetery. You can't read anything else, so that should be replaced with what's out here. I think it's just a green metal sign that's probably going to last forever. And I know the one that's out here behind Grand Junction states the rules and just regulations about the cemetery, the times, and all that stuff. So that'd be something we should probably look into. Number three, there's still a bunch of dead and dying trees in Breezeville that need to be taken out. Discontinue the use of all the water spigots over in Breezeville, because there's only a handful of people that use that water. It's mainly in the newer section. Nobody's using any of that water spigots in the older section. And my thought is, if we have that one main water source by that shed there, we could just keep that the main water source and have gallons of jugs, or, I mean, I think you put stuff there for people to water. Yeah, there's still jugs there. And that just be the main water source, and they can just put the jugs back. Because over the long period of time, I think just the maintenance on trying to maintain the entire cemetery for not being used almost at all is a waste of money and resources, in my opinion. I have noticed recently that a lot of the rows over here especially are not straight. I'm looking at the rows thinking, why are these rows not straight? And I had thought to myself, is this even on a foundation? And you can physically push a headstone, and I ended up realizing a lot of these headstones are not sitting on foundation. So that's why they're moving. The rows are not straight because there's no foundation that it's secured to at all. So potentially looking to see which headstones need foundations, which that's going to be a huge chore to do that. Where am I at? Number 7. When I first started, I noticed that driving through Bloomingdale Township, especially during like Labor Day, Memorial Day, all the holidays, you'll see outside of the cemeteries 2 American flags on each entrance. And it looks extremely nice, especially in the high traffic areas and times. I thought that would be a very inexpensive way, or a very inexpensive purchase that we could add potentially for next year's budget, to get some American flags, because just driving past the cemeteries, even in Bloomingdale, you just turn your head and automatically look to the cemetery, and it looks extremely, extremely good. Number 8, I intended to bring my maps in for you guys to see. I forgot them at home. But we need to figure out a better way to map and locate the headstones, because that, in my opinion, and in my job, is, when I'm doing that, is the biggest headache that I've faced so far.
You mean future, Michael, or?
Was that?
Do you mean future headstones or the ones that are there?
I think both. They should be, so I know what Bloomingdale does, they have a computer program, and everything is surveyed, everything is in a computer, so if somebody were to,
The village of Bloomingdale?
yes, if somebody were to,
The township.
yeah, the township, like, oh, yeah, all the cemeteries in Bloomingdale. If I wanted to find out, my grandparents are in Bloomingdale, right downtown, if I wanted to call the sexton, all he has to do is type in the computer the person's name, and it pops up exactly where that person is. I have a Excel spreadsheet that is printed on, 18 pieces of paper that are taped together, and probably a quarter of it is wrong. And it is a pain in the butt if somebody tells me, hey, where's this person at? I am looking through 18 pieces of paper, going row to row, spending half an hour to an hour just trying to find one plot, one headstone that I have no idea where I'm looking for. And are they even at this cemetery, or they're across the street?
That's gonna be tricky.
That is the biggest headache, so far. Let's see, I am at number 9, and fencing. A lot of the fencing at the cemeteries are, missing, kind of in disrepair, and could potentially be, addressed. Survey points, most of the cemeteries, it's extremely hard to find survey points, even if there are survey points, to get stuff in a straight line. Especially out here, I don't think there are survey points that I found, so I'm kind of just going off of headstones and my own measurements. I'm taking a rope through the whole row, and the row is 2 feet off some headstones because they don't have foundations, and I'm trying to just use my best judgment, and that in itself is an extreme pain in the butt. Number 11 is ornamentation. There's a lot of stuff out there that I probably could take out myself, but I don't take out because I don't want to deal with the headache from people complaining. Especially here, I have one headstone that has lights around it, that have wired lights around it, solar panel lights, and every single time my trimmer line hits it, and I'm spending 2 minutes trying to untangle the same pair of lights every single time. It's frustrating, and I'm going to break something, and then they're going to get mad at me. Let's see. Misplaced headstones in Breesville and in Thompson. So especially in Breesville, in the old section. I don't know if you guys have seen the old section, but it looks like the past sexton, or even way before him, they just decided we're going to lay these headstones that we don't know where they go next to this tree. So there's tons of headstones next to a huge tree, and the headstone itself is decaying. It's made of stone, so you can't even read the headstone anymore. And it's kind of sad. You're like, where does this headstone go? Who knows where people are in that cemetery? Because there's tons of headstones sitting in wrong places next to trees. And I know that people have just picked them up and moved them next to that tree. Let's see, number 13, there's a bunch of overgrown brush and plants, especially at Breedsville. That's my wife's meeting thing. And where am I at?
Last one.
All the plants, materials that are not appropriate to maintenance of the graves. They should be addressed at some point. I actually just there's one, it kind of looked like a weed or a tree that was growing up right next to a headstone that nobody planted. And I ended up just taking my chainsaw to it because it was pushing the headstone up. So there's a lot of stuff like that, huge rose bushes, stuff like that, that's going under the soil and pushing headstones up and ruining headstones that if we want to make it perfect, eventually will need to be replaced. So prevent that stuff should come out. And yeah, I think that's it. You guys have any questions or?
I think that the cemetery, ordinance that, we're looking at now will take care of a lot of that for you.
Okay, perfect.
I think it's a good ordinance.
Okay, I've skimmed through it, I haven't really looked at it, so I'm interested to.
The unfortunate thing is, since this has been going on for eons.
Yes, exactly.
It's gonna take more than 1 or 2 or 3 years
Yes,
to correct everything.
I totally agree.
Along with funding, but I agree with you, and, it's my understanding, there's two flagpoles in Breedsville.
Correct.
There's one on the west side, there's one on the east side.
Correct.
I believe the one on the west side, which is still down,
Correct.
is maintained by Breedsville.
Correct, yes, I
So-
believe that one's a private one, right? That one is a
Yeah,
private one,
yeah.
and somebody maintains that, and I believe during Memorial Day, that was broke during Memorial Day when they were messing with it.
Yeah. The other one is a monster,
Yes.
and it needs to be replaced, period.
I think it should be replaced. You have to screw a bolt with a impact drill, lower it down, the roping is totally gone.
Yeah.
That one should
Actually-
be replaced as well.
Can you do me a favor and check that one? We actually had some volunteers come out and say that they were going to add some hardware to it.
Last time I was out there last Wednesday, I believe, and I don't think that was
I know
done.
that they did not put a flag on, but they were supposed to have put hardware.
Okay, I will check that. I think
Just
we're gonna be out there tomorrow.
Regarding that, Flint, my opinion is, it just needs to be replaced, the whole
I
thing.
agree.
I
Done
agree.
correctly.
I agree.
In all fairness, one of our townspeople
Mhm.
voluntarily made that and erected it and put it up, and that was a good gesture on their
Right.
part. But that was years ago,
Right.
and the elements have taken their toll on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it should be just,
I'm not
Saws
even
all
sure if
off,
you
take
can
it-
unbolt that bolt anymore to get it to come
Oh,
down
yeah.
to
We're gonna have to
replace
cut
the
it off.
flag, so.
Yeah.
Grind it off.
yeah, I looked at it when I was doing the west side, which was my error. I did the wrong one, but anyway. But I agree with you, but I think that back to your questions and comments here and the frustration you have, I think this new cemetery ordinance is gonna solve a lot of that for you.
Perfect.
Because I know, and your comment about taking out the water spigots,
Mhm.
that's gonna make mowing and everything else,
Yeah.
because you can take those right out and if it's
Yeah,
on.
and a couple of them, they look like they've been hit by a vehicle. They
Sure.
have drove on the grass and
Yeah.
they're halfway leaning over and
Yeah.
probably even if the water was turned on, won't work anyway, so.
Right.
I actually think probably some of them, if you went over and grabbed them, you could just lift them out.
Right, yeah.
Well, I know a
guarantee
couple
you
of
could.
them that are on the corner where you turn and those roads
Yeah.
is awful skinny.
Yeah.
So, I agree with you 100% on that. That's good.
And I've seen you out there sweating this
Have you?
several times.
There's been a couple of days
I
where,
did stop and talk to you one
yes,
day, yeah.
you did.
And-
There's
and
been
I
a couple of days where I said, you know, I'm gonna come back tomorrow morning and finish it, and go do something else, 'cause it's 100 degrees out here and
But
this
it looks
isn't
like
fun.
you're doing a great job, and it
Thank
is a
you.
lot of work. I don't think people understand that, the people that have people in the cemetery, I don't think they realize the big picture of how much
Right.
work that is to try to go around every little thing and
it's
and the
a,
damage that these
That's a big
plantings are
deal,
doing
yeah.
to the
Plantings, yeah.
stones that are
Yes.
there, but thank you.
Yeah.
yeah. Even some of the newer, headstones, I've seen people plant small, tiny bushes or trees, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, this
Yeah.
tree is gonna grow
Yeah.
100 feet tall, and you're not gonna have a headstone, or if there's a casket here, it's gonna go ruin that, and
Mhm. Yep.
they don't think about that, far ahead, so, right?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael.
Ken, if I may, a cemetery, at the county, it was pointed out that we charge $10 for somebody to get a permit for cremation. Well, I've been billing people and everything, you either raise it up to 35 or do away with it, so get away with it.
Yay.
No more charge.
Okay, moving on, unfinished business.
So, cemetery ordinance.
Yeah.
I've talked to Cindy Dodge a couple times, and actually, as we move on here, that's the, presentation that I gave you guys copies of, that is from Cindy Dodge. I attended one of her trainings, and there were a couple of things in here that I wanted to have everybody look at when we get to the next point that relate to, some of Michael's comments here. She has, agreed to get the review back to me no later than September 2nd. That should give me enough time to get it over to the attorney before the next board meeting, so hopefully we can actually get it approved next month. But yeah, so that's where we are with the ordinance. And if anybody has anything else that they want to address with the ordinance, now is the time.
Couple comments, because I know, somebody had mentioned that we need to take care of the headstones and whatever and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Section 8, markers and memorials, says the maintenance and repair and upkeep of cemetery markers, monuments, urns, similar items responsible for the heirs and the family
Okay.
of persons buried in location. Township of Columbia has no responsibility or liability regarding repair and maintenance and upkeep of those.
The memorials, yes. However, if you look at her little, thing here, you'll see this thing that says foundation. And she clearly stated to us that,
What page is that? Or what?
oh, it's hard, let me see, it's quite a few. It's towards the back, like maybe the third page from the back, says foundation. I about fell out of my chair when she said during that training session that we are liable if the foundation is not supporting the headstone properly. Basically, anything under the headstone is our responsibility and our liability.
Question, Christie, when you go back 100 years,
Even then,
so we're expected to
yes,
raise up a 100-year-old headstone.
that is what she said in the training. I'm just repeating what she said.
Yeah, I would
But
get a
if the
different
foundation
opinion
is
on
put in
that.
correctly, but dimensions,
We don't have any problem.
our responsibility is over.
But the problem is, we don't have appropriate foundations through the majority of our
No,
cemeteries.
I understand,
Yeah.
I understand. But moving forward, is
Correct.
what I'm saying.
So, what she was saying is that if you don't currently have appropriate foundations, your board should be, and this is a near word-for-word quote, near, I'm gonna say near because my memory's not that good. She said, if you have a bunch of burials without foundations, your board should be budgeting a significant amount of funds annually to repair those foundations. So,
Yeah, well,
yep.
the other point was that, ground maintenance and flora policy, section 10.
Yes.
Down in F, it also reiterates the township shall take reasonable precautions to protect the burial rights of grave owners within the cemetery. Now, reasonable, if a limb falls down and stuff, okay, we should clean that up. I agree with that. The township cannot be held liable for loss of damage caused by flood, fire, wind, thefts, vandalism, malicious mischief makers, explosion, unavoidable accidents, and other causes deemed act of God. So, it's our responsibility to take care if something happens, but there's no way we are gonna know when a tree is gonna fall in the cemetery. Or when there's a limb's gonna fall in the cemetery.
So this is part of the problem. We actually already marked those trees that needed to be removed because of their damage and age.
Well, no, I
Before
agree.
that.
Okay, yeah, that's fine, but I'm
Okay.
saying moving forward again.
Yeah.
So, I think these are both good sections in this,
Oh, yeah.
for protection for our township.
Yeah, I just want to caution that it is very important that we maintain the grounds because we can still say that it's our responsibility to maintain the grounds and ensure the safety of those things. Now, granted, yes, we have a lightning storm and something strikes a perfectly healthy tree and a branch falls, not very.
Right.
But if it's an old dying tree, that's different. Or if it's a tree that the root system is impacting the graves, that's different.
I'm
Down a dead branch, it's different.
Right.
Falls and it's.
I'm gonna make one other comment.
Mm-hmm.
When I was doing the flagpole, Tom the tree guy come walking out of the woods. And he asked me what I was doing, and I said, what are you doing? And he said, I'm Tom the tree guy. I work with Michigan State and with the state of Michigan. And he says, the oldest living tree in Michigan is right here in this cemetery.
You gotta be kidding me.
So where's that documented? I heard this
wanna see
before and I
that.
wanna
I
see
don't
it.
know. I mentioned this to Ken. I said,
I tried to find it on the internet, I couldn't find it.
I would suggest, I suggested to get a hold of Michigan State
I was
or,
gonna say, I wonder if MSU
or
Extension would
the,
know.
extension.
Yeah, MSU and Kalamazoo.
Because I'm pretty sure, I might even know which tree it is. It's an old pine tree, and it looks like it's
Is it at
dead,
the
but it's
cemetery?
not. And it's huge, and it's on the right-hand side, and the last thing, and
I
there's
think I
one
know where you're
stone,
talking
there's
about.
one monument there that's tipped over, that something hit.
Maybe.
but-
Or is it one of the ones that got moved?
But, anyway, yeah, could be. But I don't know, I think maybe you should do diligence to try to check into that, because if that tree comes down and we could be in a world of hurt.
Yeah, we'll definitely check into that if that's really the case.
Just a comment.
Yeah.
But if you wanna know how old the tree is, I can tell you how to measure it and calculate it. Because Tom the tree guy told me.
I have a question.
I'd like to take a walk with him.
On maintaining the cemeteries, can we get grants?
If you can find one. There aren't,
I haven't seen any
I
out
haven't
there.
seen any for that. The other thing,
I searched too, I didn't see anything
you
at
know,
all.
part of the reason why I was somewhat in support of bringing this to a vote of the community is because Cindy Dodge pointed out multiple times that perpetual care of the cemetery is incredibly expensive. It is not a good expectation to take it out of your general fund. She also mentioned that most of us undercharge for our cemetery services. And when we get to the fee schedule, we're gonna talk a little bit about that. But yeah, I mean, cemeteries are incredibly expensive, and we are not allowed to stop taking care of them. In fact, if a private one were to be reported to us as not being taken care of and they want us to, we are required by law, after a certain amount of things happen, to take care of it.
They have to legally abandon it.
Yep. And, better yet, pretty much anyone can put a cemetery on their property and then decide they want to abandon it and let the township take care of it. So, cemeteries are a beast.
I would
Probably
think,
prudent not to keep expanding them, because you're just putting that on the next generation, and as people cremate
But
more.
just
That's something we ought to think about, Beverly, because we have this cemetery out here that is about ready to be expanded, and
Okay, so just one caution. Remember, I just said that anybody can create a cemetery. So if you're not offering the cemeteries in your area, what do you think is gonna happen?
a lot of people be cremated.
You know, that I don't know of any one person out here, but I could just be someone I don't know that has buried their loved ones and started their own cemetery in their yard, other than someone who may have a big, huge farm or something. I don't really think I don't see that as a real problem, but
Well, I'm just saying,
I could be wrong.
if we don't have the cemeteries to support people, then they're gonna look for other options.
But we already don't, I mean, there's not enough for everyone in the township, but everyone in the township is not going to get buried in a cemetery, because they may have ties somewhere else.
We have quite a few, we still have, we have a lot of plots here in Grand Junction, we have a lot of plots in Thompson, we do not in Breedville.
So why don't we, since we do newsletters usually, put on there in lieu of grazing or doing a cemetery tax, ask, you know, if people wanna do fundraisers or donations, volunteers.
That list is probably 100,000 plus to do everything on it easily.
I don't know I'd have to do some research, I don't know what the rules are for us as fundraising, I don't know what that looks
I
like.
mean, I think if you got a committee and they made a chapter
Right.
503, which I think is where we're headed. CIP should be invoked and up and running on that, so this is gonna be a long term.
An adult Halloween party the day of the Dead Festival, you know, something like that for a fundraiser. It would be.
Yeah.
Chili bake-off.
Yeah, yeah. People would love it.
At least it would help with some of the costs.
Something to think about in your rates is, most townships have residential rates a lot lower than now.
Right.
Right.
We do.
They'll have a big issue with, Robinson Cemetery, that's the big one south of Cole and M40. Because Kalamazoo, they were all coming out there because
The rates were better.
Secretary in Kalamazoo, they're like, well, we'll go out to Gold.
Yeah.
So they had to raise the rate
Mm-hmm.
up quite a bit, and they made the non-residents quite a bit higher to avoid that, which is too bad because it's right on the Bloomingdale Pine Grove line, so, you know, a lot of Pine Grove people, Gold's people want to be buried there, and it costs them quite a bit more, and they're really part of the community over there, but we had to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And talking about putting them on computer, Bloomingdale, that was a big deal. It took a lot of work in Bloomingdale. Ours used to be on Windows shape, you roll down, you know.
Really?
That's pretty much what we have.
You know, they haven't been computerized that long.
We have software now. We're working on it, but it's been an election year, so.
It takes a lot of work, even that, just getting software is easy.
Well, my concern is, Michael was saying some of the information, if it's inaccurate on paper,
Yep.
Having the program isn't gonna change anything.
Well,
So
that's
you
why I
gotta,
say that's the easy part. getting
Yeah,
You spend
right.
a lot of hours walking your cemetery,
So,
reading stones, writing notes.
Yeah.
Go back and put them on the computer.
so we have multiple checks. The first thing we're doing is starting with the maps, and then we actually have some, not all, of the old, like, receipts from the deeds. So then we're comparing those and scanning those in, and then once all that's done, then it's walking the cemeteries and
and I
seeing if all
could see
matches up.
that, I could see people volunteering to do that, I would do that, I mean.
Mm-hmm. Right now, it's just a matter of getting stuff into the system enough to then be able to do
To
that.
get to that point.
Yeah.
Okay, we kill this?
Sure.
For the minute.
The committee thing, are we moving, it's kind of like a combination thereof.
Well, does anyone wanna be part of the, cemetery committee?
Obviously I do.
Pardon?
Obviously I do.
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
I would like to be part of it.
We have
If
two
there's
board
no one
members
else on
on it,
the
and
board
that's it.
that,
We can have
is
more.
anyone else on the board?
We can have more as long as I publish it. I don't wanna limit anybody. If somebody else wants to do it, I'll publish it as a public meeting.
You had the one publication for, a committee, right?
It went out last weekend, and it's gonna go the next two.
Okay, yeah, 'cause I think you should have some public input besides the board.
Oh, yeah.
Of course,
I mean, you
yeah,
got-
that's what we're trying to get.
Well, and Michael's gonna sit on the committee, obviously, that's a good idea. If I have to start looking for people, I would like to get somebody from the VFW because they understand a lot of things about military burials, and we do have quite a few of those. And I realize that it may not be somebody directly from our community, but, there are several people at the VFW in Bangor that have family members buried in our cemeteries. So,
Well, it could be another member of another township, the cemetery that helps.
Yeah,
Yep.
somebody who's been there, done that, wanna give us a little advice or
Yep.
something.
So if you guys have anyone that's interested, we definitely would like to know about
I
it.
still get emails from CMIS, about mapping and radar and
Yeah,
walking the thing, and then bam, and there they are. You can just see them.
Yeah, I would really like to be able to do that with Pontum, because Pontum will do most of that stuff too. But I know how expensive it's gonna be. And we have surveys that need to be done first.
Well, you have to do it in sections. You have to do it in
little at a
parts, that's, you know.
It's more cost effective to do it all at once than to break it up, just to throw that out there. That's why I haven't presented, well, it's not the only reason why, but there are other things that we have to do to get to that point. And surveying
Well, this is all the stuff the committee needs to work on.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
work about
that
the
should be-
committee and try to move
And the reminder
move
ad, you're
forward
gonna
here.
have them
Yeah.
Anyways,
writing it up.
right now we have
Yeah.
Deb and Christie on that committee. Does more board members wanna be on that? There's
Mike was on it, right?
Yeah, Mike.
Mike's also on too, but I was talking about board members. Any other
Mhm.
board member wanna be on that committee? Okay, you two are on the committee. You guys, I guess, will take care of, determining, appointing members or recommending appointment of members to the board. And you guys, how much advertisement do you need?
We approved last month for us to have $150 to advertise for the committee.
Do you need more?
Not yet,
Not yet?
no.
Okay, well, you're good. With this committee, I also think that you two need to sit down and think of some type of funding for basically getting it started and,
Yeah,
and
we'll have to start with an initial budget of some sort.
some initial budget, and then we need to get that put into the thing. Okay, we kill that? You guys know what you gotta do?
So when you say you two, are you saying Christie and I and?
Christian,
And
you,
Michael.
and Mike, but
The three of us.
you two need to, you're the board members, you're the one that gets going, and then Mike's gonna join in on the committee, and Mike's already part of the committee as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
He should be there. I do like the idea of the veterans being there, and,
I do too.
I don't know if you could get a funeral director to sit with you, but I would
Oh,
strongly
Floyd probably
recommend
would.
that,
Do
because
you
he
think
would
Floyd would do that?
ask, see what they say. Nothing hurts by asking. No, with all that being said, can I move on?
No, yeah.
No. I have a second on that. Let's go to 1.3, the TNT JAWS, value sale benefit. I guess, Dave, you're on.
I spoke to R&R, the company that serviced our old hydraulic jaws. They kind of scoured the internet, we made a couple phone calls. They think, well, let me back up. The combi tool and the cutter are essentially useless to anyone who wants to cut into the modern cars, because we're gonna have the same problem we did. Where the jaws, just the cutter and the combi tool aren't gonna cycle through the metal. The spreaders will still work and the ram will still work. Due to the age, of the power head and the age of the jaws themselves, the power head was here when I started back in '99. I think that came from Bangor. Remember that, Ken?
I can't remember that.
We had some.
I remember using it.
We had some really old tools, and we replaced those about 15, 16 years ago. I couldn't find anything in our files on that before I was finding cheap.
I do remember Dave Osmo donated those to us. They got new ones and they donated whatever they had to us, so they're really old.
They put if you're lucky, sale price on them about up to $3,000.
Well, hold on. Did you say they were donated to us to begin with?
I don't think we can legally donate. Taxpayer funded.
But they weren't funded.
We had purchased the tools we have.
Oh, okay.
The power head itself was donated.
I think the tools came with it, but I think we replaced those.
Well, yeah, we have replaced the tools.
And you probably replaced them since that too.
No, they
No?
were replaced 15, 16 years ago.
Yeah.
Ish. I couldn't find any file on it with fire code.
You mentioned Lee might be interested.
Lee might be interested. I'm in frequent contact with, two departments in the UP, the chiefs up there and I talk. They might be interested as well.
And you think they're interested at the sale point of 3,000? Okay.
As a donation?
Well,
Or
as
for a low
give
price?
$100
Yeah.
type thing. That's years
I would
ago
hope it
when
would
we
go to
replaced our
Lee.
packs, that's what we did. A department in UP purchased packs. When we replaced them 11 years ago. But, I mean, that's the type of thing you put in the paper. If you wanna go that route, I can just call a few departments and see if they want them.
Does we have any right now?
They do.
The UP folks do not?
I'm waiting for a phone call back, but the supervisor I spoke to didn't think they did. But I'm waiting for a call back from Whitefish Township.
Will they come and get it?
I will deliver it.
Can't they come and get it if they're getting it
He's
basically
saying-
free?
But I get to go to the UP, so.
Yeah.
I'll take a weekend and deliver it.
He's not charging us for it.
No, I'm hitching a boat to the truck, and we're gonna go to the UP for the weekend and something come up here.
I was gonna say, heck, I'll take it up to him.
Right, yeah.
So you're just waiting for, phone calls back and, okay.
Well,
And it doesn't benefit you guys for training or anything, of course, or you would keep it?
Not really, I mean, we've trained all we can train on those. To be honest with you, I'm leery of the hydraulic valve. We've had
He's giving it to another department, I suggest we make a donation, it's done, we probably fully depreciated it, right?
well, that's what I was thinking, but
It's got really no value to anyone if they can't cut a car, right?
The new battery stuff up and operational and getting them solved, which is,
The junkyard would love it.
Well, what do you guys think if we donate it to another department? Anyone have a problem with that?
I don't.
I don't,
I don't.
I especially don't if they don't have one at all.
Right, exactly.
yeah.
and what I'll do is I'll find someone that doesn't have it. And
I think that would be our best bet, and it's gonna help some other community, and really, that's what we're all about.
Find them in the UP.
All right,
oh, yeah.
I will make a
Somewhere
motion
between Whitefish Point and Houston.
that
Dave,
we-
you're about ready to win.
I will make a motion that we donate the old TNT jaws to a community that does not currently have a set.
Or,
Is that gonna be along with the
no,
pump system and the,
you have to make a motion to sell it for like maybe
$1?
something like that, yeah.
reasonable cost?
You guys were killing me.
I think you can put a dollar amount on it.
Okay, I will make a motion that we sell the TNT jaws for $1 as long as it goes to a community that does not currently have any.
I'll support.
But
Okay, and I'll donate the dollar to whoever gets it.
now that includes the,
That's everything.
Yeah.
Hoses, tools, everything.
yeah.
Yeah,
The,
tools are worth just about the pump.
the gas pump and the, yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay, Christie made a motion. Do I have a second?
Beverly seconded it.
That was Beverly.
Beverly said, I missed that.
She did.
I was thinking about $1. This will have to be a roll call vote. Gary?
Yes.
Rhonda?
Yes.
Christie?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
And Ken, yes.
Thank you, and as I say, every month, 4 AM comes early, so it's not a problem.
Dave, I also think the dollar is basically our liability thing for us to,
We sold it to them, and I'll furnish a bill
You
of
can give
sale.
that to Rhonda.
you go Rhonda, there's $1 for it.
I need a receipt for this.
We'll put it with your receipt. Put your $1 with your receipt.
And then give it to Rhonda.
Put a piece of paper in the toner.
Then you need the piece of paper that you sold it to them and give it to Rhonda.
I'll do a bill of sale and letterhead.
Yeah, talk, put liability on that too. Release ourselves for liability. Where was I?
In the township hall.
One.
So we got the jaws out of the way.
Yeah, we're on the hall.
We're now on 1.4, the rental of hall items, chairs, tables with security deposit. And we got price values for things.
And below that, there is, I just did a quick search to see if what other townships had, and I found Antrim's, documentation that they use. And I thought, at least that's a starting point, and we can figure out what we want to do from there.
And that's for this?
Yeah, it's for tables, chairs. And, I do still have some notes from before that I don't think I put on here. Maybe I did. Oh, yeah, I did. That we had noted at the last meeting, it's under items to consider, that, so we did the research, the two first bullets, that's the information above. And then at the last board meeting, we had said we were only going to rent to citizens. We're gonna restrict the items so they cannot leave the township borders. And then we went around a little bit about how much the security deposit should be, so we'd have to make that decision.
Yeah, this agreement you'll have to tweak to get the deposit and things in there.
Oh, yeah, Yeah, I
But
didn't have
that's
time
good,
to
I like that
address
they've got the
whole-
liability on there.
Yeah.
So what are we really saying here?
So the question is how much of this, do we want to start with this as a base? How much of it do we like? How much do we want to tweak? Do we not want to do this at all? What do we want to do?
Personally, I think you're gonna open up a can of worms if you do this at all. Especially when there's pawpaw rentals and there's other rental people around that do it. There's people that, have their own business that rent tables and chairs and other than pawpaw rentals and other commercial places. And, the reason I say that is because we've done that at church with some of our tables and things, and they come back discolored, they come back with stains on them, they come back, some of them got holes punched in them. And some of them maybe don't come back at all. I don't know. But well, if you do this, you're gonna have to have somebody here at the hall. You're gonna have to have a checklist. You're gonna have to take ID from the people. I mean, it's gonna have to be and I know there's a rental agreement here. I just think it wouldn't be worth the bother. We just bought these tables and things. These are not commercial grade.
We have someone ask us for this.
We normally get 5 or 6 phone calls in the spring, and that's the biggest.
Graduations and things like that, yep.
And then a couple more, like every other month-ish, maybe you think, Rhonda? Like, it's kind of once in a while. So it's primarily the spring, and then a little bit here and there. So I don't think it would be.
Would you say 12 a year?
Probably. And that's about it. So it wouldn't be a huge list.
Would they take them off-site?
What was that?
Would they take those off-site?
Well, see, one of the things, I think Karen might have brought it up at the last meeting, and I thought it was a good idea, was to state that if somebody were to call and ask to rent the tables and chairs, to say to them, well, our hall's available to rent first.
Exactly.
And then if they don't want to use the hall, and we had something like this in place, then we would say, yep, you can take them. Can't be outside of the township borders. Here are all the rules. Here's the thing. And I think my guess is that if we did that, we might rent them out 3 or 4 times a year.
Well, it's not worth it.
I think that, the other thing to consider, and I don't remember reading it in here. Scanning quickly here. I don't think it mentions in here, that it can't be used outside. So, if people rented tables and chairs, throw them out on the lawn someplace.
And they would be mostly
Yeah, they probably
using
would
them
most of the time.
outside.
Yeah.
My one concern on the negative side is, what do we really do if they don't bring them back?
They keep their security deposit.
Hey, we had a point that, can we make a decision? I'm against it. You against it, Gary?
Personally, I am, yeah.
Rhonda?
I am too, 'cause like Gary said,
You
they're
guys?
not commercial grade.
You don't care either way?
I think that it's
We
nice to have, but
we
it's
can look
not
at
a
this
necessity.
again, but right now, I would say that we got enough on our table with all this other stuff we got going on to be worrying about renting tables, chairs, and everything else, tents, when we got cemetery falling apart. And
Maybe we need to revise the hall rental, make sure that's updated.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about some things related to that in a bit.
Okay, I think we're ready to move on to 5. North Lake SAD update. Gary?
Yes, I've contacted, Jeff at North Lake Landowners Association. And because of schedule conflicts with their board, it was kind of hard to get together, but we do have a meeting scheduled for this Friday to talk things over and to get things a little bit easier for our board to handle. I know you sent an email out earlier, and Jeff did send those to you back in last part of July or first part of August because he copied me, from 2022 through 2026.
He sent them to me?
Yep, and copied me.
Oh.
And it's the Spencer's gonna use through 26?
Yep.
Well, okay.
So, anyway, I will reiterate that to him on Friday.
Those are expenses that he expects, there's no
Right.
changes to them? Okay, good.
I don't have it. I have that he asked for a check register. I have that email.
Which I sent to him.
Mm-hmm. And the email he sent me today says that he's requested the bids for 2023.
Wait till I get
Well,
down
that's good
to
too.
Yeah, so he sent me an email today that says he's requested the RLS, to secure herbicide bids for 2023. He's headed out of country, but he's meeting with Gary. He says, I can put together the other information for our budget. What kind of supporting documentation would you need for electricity? I replied back to him, he doesn't have to provide me supporting documentation for electricity. I have that already. He said that he'll use the contract for aeration, past permit bills to estimate permits. Says, I do not believe we have any testing requirements for Eagle, so he'll get the 2023 contract from Dr. Jones. That should be all of our expenses. Best regards. So it sounds like he's putting it together. Other than that, the only email I have was, actually I was CC'd on an email to Rhonda. So.
Gary, last year, they went and said that they wanted another increase this year. And that's what's got me a little nervous, that we're gonna get in the same situation where they come in late.
But it sounds like he's pulling it together, so.
Sounds like he's pulling together, but it sounds like they wanted another increase this year. I think you're gonna have to notice that because.
Not to my knowledge at this point.
Okay, well, I'm okay with that, but I think we have to notify all of them again because we're already 10% over the original bid.
And I did actually send him a template that's in the same format as our normal budget, so that they can, it'd be nice if they used it. I didn't say they had to, but I said, this is here and it's available for them to use, so.
Anything else on North Lake? Please forward that to us, Gary, that'd be great information.
Yeah.
Help me do the budget.
Yeah. I think, he's confused on exactly what you need, and I'm gonna try to explain what we do with PLM, and then make it, thank you, Gary, I sent this email, so I'm doing about to go to the answer.
Yeah, I don't know, I know his response today to me it sounded like we were on the same page, so I hope that keeps moving. I do know, basically by what he said to me.
He said a PDF, 3 pages, from 2022 through 2026, and that was sent from Walker, July 26th.
I don't have anything from him on July 26th. I have something from him today, and then I have something from him from July 16th.
Says I forward these budgets to help to determine, also send to the Township Board.
This is from Jeff, right?
Huh?
From Jeff?
Jeff Walker.
Yeah, the only thing I have from him is the project cost response today, and.
Okay. I'll clear it up on Friday.
Okay.
Not a problem.
I'm not too worried. It's not, like I said, it sounds like he is pulling together the information that we need.
Well, I think he's making it more complicated than what it should be.
Oh,
That's personal opinion. I asked him for the average cost for a year,
uh-huh,
aeration, chemicals,
yep,
permits, the whole thing, and then get an average, and then put that in a spreadsheet for 5 years. And then say, this is the average, this is what our cost is projected to be for everything.
okay.
One lump sum, boom, boom, boom,
And
boom.
see, and I specifically asked him for supporting documentation for this next year's budget,
Okay,
so,
well, he'll probably have this with us, so
yeah,
I'll tell him to bring it.
yep, that's fine.
Okay.
It sounds like he knows what we need, so it should be okay.
Moving on, cameras for illegal dumping enforcement. I will say today, somebody dumped in front of the transfer station. Somebody saw it, they recorded it. Deputy sheriff went out there, told them go pick it up, bring it back on free dump day. And the guy said he would.
How did he know who?
The guy that saw him knew who it was.
Oh,
Good for the guy who saw him,
So,
for actually.
on the other hand, I bought a deer cam, and I'm gonna go ahead and donate that to, the deputy to see if it works. If we lose it, I don't care.
talking about the deputy and dumping, I gave Justin a, address on 50th Street, but when I pulled, it was just, the 5 was missing on the front, so I gave him 081, so that was my error.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, just past 50th Street, on north and south side of the road, somebody's got a camper in there, they're chopping wood, they got a makeshift bridge across the south end of the ditch.
This on 8th Avenue?
8th Avenue.
We're well aware of that, they're taking the bridge apart, when I came back.
Who is it?
Is it road commission?
So, one thing I do want to be very clear on is that we are working very hard on establishing internal procedures on handling these things and making sure we can follow up. And so if you see anything, report it to Ruth, because Ruth is keeping track of the spreadsheet. She's making sure Beth and Justin get copies of everything. And at the next board meeting, I'm hoping that we will have a very solid internal procedure to bring to the board to review and see if we need to tweak it at all and move forward from there. But there is a lot of work going on right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of things we looked at.
Well, I don't even know if
There's a lady that supposedly bought that property for $1 from somebody that's now liable for the bridge. And the bridge is being put in by another person, and the person's living in a tent there, and
Yeah.
Justin has had a talk with her 3 or 4 times, and now we got pictures, we're turning it over to Bev.
Okay.
Bev's gonna give a notice
Okay.
violation, and then we go.
Okay.
So we have the camera set up for illegal dumping and we're
Yep.
good. So
We're
transfer
good.
station.
Transfer station.
Oh, so it's gonna be set up by, okay.
I'm just giving it to the deputy, he'll take care. Let's see.
Will he maybe move it around if it works out good?
You're setting it up with a transfer
Wouldn't be a bad
station?
idea.
Is that what you said?
Transfer station.
Transfer station, it says that I had an action last week,
Uh-huh.
and my action was to go find out what's going on out there, and I am hearing that we need to have a nighttime dump during the summer.
So,
A
did you
what?
come up with it? This is my suggestion, and I think it won't what will end up happening is it'll balance itself out in the long run. My recommendation is that we reduce the hours on Saturday slightly, like maybe 10 to 3, and then open
Reasonable.
on Tuesdays during the summer, April through October, from 2 to 7. And then when we're only working that way here, we're only paying for a couple of extra hours a week during the summer, and then it'll be a couple fewer hours a week during the winter.
Should be summer hours, I agree with you, yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I think that's a good plan.
It is.
Okay, I guess we got this out.
Do we need?
Oh, I had another action, didn't I?
I don't,
It falls within budget.
I'm gonna be talking, I got the supervisors meeting coming up. I'm gonna grab, Lawrence and Arlington and see what's going on, and if they want to or be interested in joining forces in Bangor Township's also there. So I'll catch them there. So, budget update, oh, that's me too. I've been thinking how next year's budget's gonna come together, so I'm gonna give you some bad news. Things that are, gonna affect our budget. One is, we're gonna have an energy tax coming up, which means fuel costs are gonna go up, which means electrical costs.
What energy
The
tax?
income tax is gonna be hitting people, which means you're gonna have a hard time paying for your food, fuel, materials. You're gonna lose jobs because tax on business is gonna drop down. And then unemployment's gonna get high, and we're gonna have a lot of, that. There'll be shortages, good. The interest rate really has to be higher than inflation. Inflation's about
That's right.
8. And you gotta be 2% above that, so you really have to be at 10% interest rate, which means your home sales are gonna go down. Then the home values will go down, because people are gonna start losing their homes. And, after that, we can talk budget. So,
Well, I'm glad you got a crystal
I
ball.
think I got a handle on what I think, but what I think sometimes might be drastic. And what I think I'm gonna try to do this year is I'm gonna start in September, and I'm gonna see if I could get a group of people to come down here and we'll talk, budgeting 101. Where I'll try to explain how our budget works to a group of people and tell them what's coming in the future for us, and see if they can help us as a community, how to get through the next couple of years till things change. Because it's gonna be rough trying to develop a budget on what's going on right now. Now, November, things may change, but it's not gonna change quickly. I bet it's gonna take,
A good year.
well,
Maybe two.
yeah, you might see a little change start in 6 months, but the stock market's gonna have to come down already to hit us, and, yeah, it's gonna be ugly, and we really gotta watch our pennies, because we're gonna be spending a lot on things.
So I really love the idea of educating our community, and, especially about things like budget. So I would love to put my, educated skills to work and build a course for my own town. So in saying that, I know we've touched on this before, but, I would like to propose that we go ahead and have a social media page, on Facebook for the township that allows us to stream certain things, and which would allow a different style of
What do you mean?
of interaction. So when he does, like, if we did a little educational piece on budgeting, we could have that be videotaped and streamed on.
Oh, they could click on it.
Yeah, and then they could actually interact, so they could provide feedback, and it wouldn't be an official board meeting, because it's an educational piece that he would be running, and then maybe myself or Kara could be managing the page to, feed the questions to him, and he could respond back. And then that page can also be linked to the newsletters that I have going out from MailChimp, and they can automatically be posted there. We can completely limit any type of feedback whatsoever. I can, break it all down so nobody can post any comments. So it's just news. But it would be basically anything that we have that would typically go out to the community from the board would be able to go on that page, and it would give us that extra flexibility for these educational pieces.
Can't that be added to our website?
No, I can't do it. I can't do interaction on our website. There's no could be technology to do that, but it's probably gonna be expensive, where Facebook is free.
The idea of Ken having people here, if we could get them here.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
like the idea of the live feed thing, but to
This is
me,
all-
it sounds like one more thing for you to do. You know, that's, so,
She's just gotta turn on the video recording.
Yeah. That's it.
I'll probably make a PowerPoint, and we'll walk right through a PowerPoint up on the big screen and.
And the other thing
okay,
is,
but she's talking about, am I hearing you correctly, or are you talking about on an ongoing basis,
Yes,
we'll
but-
be doing something like this?
but to be clear, that the MailChimp thing that I use right now to send the email notices out, there's a little spot that once we have the Facebook page set up, I click this button, and now every time I publish something, it automatically goes there. So it's not extra work.
I like the idea of it being recorded and being on there. I think there might be some downfalls to live with people, answering questions off the cuff and then it's recorded.
You know, there's only really two big things that we have to work on a budget. And one is our general fund, and the other one's the fire fund.
Yes.
Both funds pretty much is already taken care of. We know what we're gonna work on next year, and we got fund balance to take care of. We know that, whatever you do with the police officer, funds are covered by him, and that's gonna be taken care of. So, the only thing you got is.
I just feel like it's better transparency, and we're educating everyone, giving them a chance to provide their input. People who can't be here physically could still provide input.
Okay, to provide their input, and what if they get a wrong answer about something, are we liable in any way, or?
Well, for starters.
So can we try this on a trial basis? Do
Oh,
we have
yeah.
to commit to, can we try it for this one thing for Ken to say and see how that works out, and then see if there are any pitfalls from it, or
Absolutely.
great things from it?
Absolutely.
I mean, I was gonna start out with a bathtub and a faucet and a drain. I'm gonna show the revenue coming in the top and the drain
Actually,
is
you would get a
expenses.
lot of people watching, so I would recommend doing that.
Yep.
No, if I could only get you in the bathtub.
Oh, my gosh!
Oh, you're picturing that.
I'm with you.
Thanks for
Okay.
coming, Kurt.
So, I would say that we just updated the budget. Well, by the way, I have been looking at the budget, and,
So that was my budget question, was if you said you wanted to do I wanna know if that's something we wanna pilot.
I think
call it a
we decided we're gonna pilot it. I mean, I don't think
Okay.
we need board action. I'll just go
As
ahead
long
and
as
get.
there's no cost.
Huh?
No cost
As long
at
as
all.
there's no cost.
I don't see any cost. This should
Nope.
be pretty easy to put together. PowerPoint.
All right.
Something caught my attention on the budget. I mean, overall, I think we're all right. It looks like we have all maintenance and repair is getting a little bit high.
We got a few things, like the exit signs, they're not, they haven't been put up yet.
The thing
I don't
that
remember.
caught me on the budget
Huh?
was the cemetery.
Oh, yeah.
Some of things is gonna get much worse.
We've got $11,000 roughly in the budget yet.
Yeah.
And we just got a bill for around 8 or 9, I think. So at least $2,000.
Yeah. So, the one thing I will say is that just remember that our cemetery's budget is now front-loaded. So, with our fiscal year running the way it does, we're gonna always pay more from March until,
Yeah,
or
but-
from April until whatever.
I don't
But-
think
Yeah,
at
but
last
not
meeting,
71%.
I think we mentioned cutting back a little bit on the grass, like letting it get a little taller or something. Didn't we talk about that?
That was discussed. I am not sure that I agree with that, because we already get complaints about,
Well, we're getting complaint from one person,
Okay,
so.
Ken made mention he's putting together, it's
We're
gonna
gonna
cost
have-
between $30,000 and $40,000 for these trees. We only have $40-some thousand in the whole budget.
yeah. I think we need to have the committee.
I think what we ought to do is check and see if there's a money tree out there.
That would be nice.
Well, how about
So-
Save the Oldest Tree in Michigan fundraiser?
Oh, there we
That's it.
go.
Hey, that sounds real good.
It really
Either
does.
that, I say cut it up and sell it for lumber.
No, really, really
That's a good idea.
to save the tree,
Orange is
oldest tree
a
in
high
Michigan.
price right now.
If it's actually the oldest tree in Michigan, I bet you could get money from that
Oh, I
somehow.
bet we could.
Oh,
In fact,
maybe.
there is a grant right now for forestry management and
Yeah, but I don't think we fit that.
No, actually, it's weird because that grant funds everything from planting trees in a urban area to maintaining a forest
The
and
township
everything in
could,
between.
the township could take donations to save us from having to destroy the tree.
Okay, we're getting way off subject
Yeah,
here.
let's move.
Let's move on, we'll get out of here by 9 o'clock if we hurry up. Where were we?
Fee schedule.
Fee schedule.
Update fee schedule. Christie, tell me, what did you change in here?
Hey, I was gonna say, so I color-coded things, but I forgot to put a key on there. So,
The other,
the yellow are the things we need to talk about. The like orangey peachy color are the things that I changed that we also probably need to talk about, but, they were, so I actually put numbers in for the peachy ones. The yellow ones I did not change, but I thought we should talk about.
so you're saying like, for instance, the weekly infant casket cremation open closed at, that 200, that was there before?
Correct, but see how, the gray are, I'm suggesting we remove.
Yeah, okay.
So all I did in that one is I moved the infant part up, to be with the cremations, because I was looking at some other townships and a lot of them have their cremation cost is the same as their infant cost.
What about the dark?
The range for a resident plot, I didn't really see anything much lower than 250, 300-ish for really on the low side.
On the low side.
And then for the high side, I was seeing around 900 to 1,000 for a resident plot. I think 900 is probably a lot for our community.
Well, what's the demographics of those? That's the
Right,
thing.
that's why I did the big range, so, the ones that are closer to us are between the 250 and 600.
What was the resident plot?
At 150. I didn't change, the ones that are in yellow, I didn't actually change anything on them.
Okay.
Well, the
I think 1,200.
Non-residents is gonna go up.
the non-resident should go up.
I would,
Go up a lot.
well, so you're thinking somewhere around $600, the medium,
For the resident one,
yeah.
well, I would say the medium for our demographic would be probably closer to 500. 450.
450? Yeah.
450 it is. Does anyone disagree with 450?
No.
We're not
I didn't
voting on
think
this, but when we
500
get down to the
was
end, we vote on
unreasonable.
everything.
I didn't think 500 was unreasonable. Generally, these are things people are buying ahead, but.
Okay, now we got everyone want 500?
For what, resident?
For the resident one.
I just wrote 450, I got to do it.
She's down here talking on the end. She's always about one step behind us.
Okay, 500.
500 it is.
500.
And the non-resident, put it at a
So that
would
means
triple it for
non-resident's gonna be,
1,500.
I would.
Yeah,
I would go
for
1,500.
I would go
Yes.
15.
15? Okay.
That's what I think.
That sounds good.
Because it's this community that has to pay for
Yep.
all the upkeep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, burial rights transfer fee, that's still the same 50?
I added that because we did not have that. And we should, because.
What is that?
Okay, well, what's everyone else charging for that?
This price point is the price point I got from probably, it's pretty close to average. I didn't see any that were lower than that, but there were only a handful that were higher. So I think the $50 is a good mark.
Okay,
What that is when you buy a certificate, per our new ordinance, you have to designate.
You're gonna, first send you
Next
down.
person,
Yeah.
right.
Yep,
Okay,
I remember reading that.
you're gonna delete all the baby stuff.
yep.
The next one's, gonna be.
Oh, I didn't
What is
highlight,
that?
sorry, I didn't highlight something. On the headstone footing per square inch, I didn't change the price per square inch, but I did put the minimum on there.
Did you say you're gonna delete all the baby stuff?
Yep, all the gray stuff, because it's now wrapped up in the cremation stuff
Infant.
above.
Yeah.
Headstone footing per square inch.
Is that the foundation?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's the foundation, and the only thing I did was add a
Per
minimum.
square inch, that's the top side of it, right? That's
Yes.
pretty darn cheap.
It's very cheap, but
Yeah.
when I looked at other townships, we're in the Middle.
We are,
Yes.
on a square foot.
On
What are they
square.
saying
Michael
in
has
square
something
foot?
to add.
Bloomingdale Township is, I think, 45 cents.
Square inch.
No.
Yeah, we're right in the middle
We're
here.
there, we're
Yeah.
there.
The only thing I did here was add the minimum of $70.
Okay,
I like having a minimum.
Because,
You have to
I
pay
mean,
for Michael's time.
one way or another, you have to go out there and do it, right?
Yeah.
So-
That's right.
okay. It's gonna be a minimum of $70. Anyone disagree with that? Okay, we're gonna move down to appeal of zoning administrator's decision, zoning administrator interpretations.
We did not have this on our fee schedule before, and I saw it on a lot of other ones, and that makes sense to me that we should have something there. Because that does require,
They're also paying for a fee to go to the ZBA, right?
so this wouldn't be, that's not a
The
ZBA.
$600 application, and then you're gonna add another $150 for the,
No. This is if a zoning administrator makes a decision and they don't agree with it. Appeal of
if they
zoning
don't agree with it,
administrator's
they go to
decision or
zoning,
interpretation.
The ZBA? No.
they go to the ZBA to get interpretation.
They go to the ZBA to get an interpretation. If they're asking for an interpretation and they're not looking, it's not something that they're disagreeing necessarily with the zoning administrator. Or zoning administrator says, our policy says blah, 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 would you like to appeal? Yeah. This is specifically regarding
Appealing it.
appealing the zoning administrator's decision.
Right.
Oh, not the zoning itself, but
Correct.
but the call she made on it.
Right, the call she made.
Oh, okay, I'm going to give you an example. I challenged the zoning administrator's decision, and you had to have zoning board of, the zoning board of review, ZBA, had to look at that.
Yeah, but where is that on here?
We don't, it should, you should have one on there, zoning board of appeal.
There isn't one. This would be it for that, wouldn't it?
No, because it was, when I did it, they didn't have anything, and one of their problem was they had to advertise. And the cost of advertising was about $600, plus they had to pay $50 to each one of them.
Yeah, so you're saying this is low.
Well, I'm trying to tell you is that we don't have a fee for it, nobody's gonna have to pay it.
That's why we're putting it on there.
No, you're not, because $150 ain't gonna cover it.
Correct. So you're saying the price is low, but we should put the
Well,
item
if you
on
gotta
there.
put the advertisements out, why wouldn't you put all the thing? But if they win their appeal, you probably ought to give it back to them.
Yeah, that sounds.
Because they're gonna sue you for it anyways.
Well, maybe not.
Well, I can tell you that from experience.
Well, that's your experience.
Well, if they're wrong, they're wrong.
Right, if
And if
we're
you had to
wrong,
go through
we're
all
wrong,
that
right.
trouble, why should you have to pay all the cost?
Yeah,
Right.
Okay, so, but we need to increase that, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
And then we need to say that if they win, it's refundable?
Well, basically, if
But
it's found in favor of the plaintiff.
But that,
I think
you
they'll
know
just
what?
be
I
happy
disagree
that
with
they
that.
won.
So,
They'll just be happy they
this
won.
is the thing, if you have to have a variance, you pay your $600
Right.
for the notice that you need a variance.
I'm not saying that your variance is wrong.
And it's not
I'm
always
saying if you went to the ZBA on a determination.
But I'm
But
agreeing
wouldn't
with
the
Christie on this.
But it's still, the determination is based off of, it's basically a
Right.
variance.
No, I didn't turn in a variance. I disagreed with his decision on boy, I don't wanna say this. Alcohol in the farming district.
But it's still costing the township the money to
Money.
publish and
Well, I'm
everything, just
saying
like
it
you
costs
said.
the township a lot of money.
So they'll be happy to pay that
Well,
to get
unfortunately,
their
they
way.
didn't invite me to the meeting. They told me I
Oh,
couldn't come.
stop, okay, so $600 because it requires publishing?
Well, if you want to get the feedback.
Yeah.
At least,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
So
we'll change that
that's,
to 600,
the 150 is now 6?
correct.
Well, 600, well, yeah, you gotta advertise for the hearing.
And it's new, right?
It's new.
That's new to us.
Yes. And the next one is also, the next two are also new. We've been talking a little bit
What
about,
was that?
you know, some of our fees and whatnot. So I saw this on someone else's. Oh, yes, it should say offense, not office.
That's what I was gonna say,
Well, what are you actually saying there? Building without permit, first offense. Why does it say first office?
Because I mistyped.
Okay.
Oh, correct, didn't take it.
It was 3:00 in the morning.
4 times the fee.
For the first one, and then any multiple offense would be the regular fee times 4, times whatever number offense that is.
Well, that could be awful expensive.
I like it, yeah.
The only issue, now, so I did, you know, I stole this from some other townships. The only concern I see with it is that we don't actually have documented anywhere what our building fees are.
What's that?
We don't have documented anywhere what our building permit fees are.
Because they're set by the state.
Are they?
Yeah.
So where's that documented?
The state puts out a, one of these bulletins. It states what the electrical fee and mechanical and Chuck Moore fees is, and it's price per square foot for a building.
Doesn't the state set the fees and it's the building inspector?
Yeah, you can't charge more than that. It's in, MCL 125 point.
Don't we have?
Find it?
I'm looking at it right now. Actually, I'm not. I'm looking at Mount Pleasant. Plumbing permit, building permit. But see, these are for them to do the building permit, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think you can't be more than that according to state law.
What does your fee schedule say, Carol?
There are a lot of townships that have their own.
Very.
All their own inspectors, and they charge more than what the state says.
I don't know if they charge more. I just know they have their own.
Hey, there you go.
Wow.
I think at some point we have to adopt that.
Rural construction code.
And they might have it some
You're
point.
good.
Yeah.
I also found the tree in Greenville, but we'll talk about that later.
Oh, I can't wait to hear about that.
What did she say? What did she say?
This is what she said. I was amazing at finding Karen. No, I'm joking.
I thought you said something about a bathtub again.
No, the tree. Stop it with the bathtub.
Well, you've got some of them on here for like demolition and that kind of stuff, but there's no fee schedule for per $1,000 of whatever it is. It's
Right.
not.
I think right there.
It's not incremental.
Right, demolitions normally aren't, according to what I saw on everybody else's sites either. But yes, this should be.
Do you have to get a permit to tear down a building?
You do.
Oh, good to know.
You basically, it's just signing something saying that you've disconnected everything from the building.
Mm.
125/15/01.
Be nice to say.
What date is that? You know what date that is?
That's the plumbing one. Hold on, I just had it up.
Well, that's old.
Hold on, building permit.
500.
Fees.
Is there a revised date on it at all?
Yes, 2013.
Well, no, that's the last time they were updated, according to the state site. This is the current construction code, it's 2013. Which may mean that we have adopted them then, if it's that long ago.
I thought construction code.
There's a link.
No, that's not me, this is
No,
it.
it's not.
This is the,
Okay.
that's it. See, and that came right from here, right from the main page.
Okay, what do you want to do with it?
Well, okay, so we didn't finish going through them all. So, let's see, I added the FOIA portable flash drive, because we didn't have that on there. Hall rental.
What was you gonna do with the building stuff that we just found?
Are we gonna leave it or no?
Well, I think you ought to incorporate that, write that in here somewhere, right? Or not say it, just go with the state.
Well, you know, we could put a line item that says that,
Follows.
building permits, building, plumbing, mechanical, whatever, follow state schedule.
You want me to do that?
Well, I think it's for our fees, we should,
Okay, I'll do
I
that.
wanna go back to that appeal zoning administrator decision.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we were gonna put it at 600,
Yes.
Yep.
and they would get that back if they won.
No, I don't wanna give it back.
I don't
No,
wanna
they
get that.
shouldn't have to give it back. If we gotta advertise,
Right.
that
We'll
should
let-
be part of their win.
yeah, but it's your mistake. It'd be our mistake.
Okay.
Our ZBA administrator made a bad decision, and we got
Okay,
overturned.
stop.
Let's go back to FOIA.
Okay, where we at?
So I'm adding the line item for the building, plumbing,
Okay, well, I thought we already
whatever.
took care of that.
Okay, everybody's good with that. And then we are on the FOIA portable flash drive I added. And then hall rentals, I moved some things around here a little bit. This originally said hall rentals per day. The initial one was Sunday through Thursday. But I was looking at other townships, and they did Monday through Friday, and I was like, why do they do that? And I went, duh, because they have staff here. So I switched that around to Monday through Friday. And then I added the holiday because we didn't have holiday listed. And then I highlighted the things in yellow because those are significantly below what everybody else is charging for their little rooms. For the weekend rate for a resident was actually closer to 200, 250. And then the per day rate was about 150 on average. So I highlighted those. It doesn't mean we need to change them. I just wanted everybody to be aware that we are below the average.
How long have these rates been there?
I
How long has
don't
it been $75?
I don't know.
Long time? Before you?
I don't remember
Rhonda,
being
did we
around when
change
it changed.
Rhonda, did you ever change
Sharon?
the rate?
Do you remember a change?
No, it was 150.
Well, why don't you move that up to 100?
No, that's new.
Move to
Anyone have a problem moving that up to 100?
What,
You're talking
the
during the week?
Monday?
The 75 to 100.
Okay,
I don't think that's unreasonable.
okay.
And then, the hall rentals, Saturday, Sunday, and holidays per day, you went and said that 200 would be?
200 is on the low side of average.
250.
250 is average.
You want 250, Rhonda?
Yeah.
I'd go with 250.
Okay.
And then the rental Saturday, Sunday, and holidays, non-residents?
I'd at least double what.
Now see that,
Maybe we just don't do that for non-residents. I don't know.
I didn't highlight that one because that one was average for everyone else.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think you have to have something in there for them, because if they ask, you can't say no without, we got a rate.
Well, we got one in there.
So we're gonna charge a resident $250 and a non-resident only $50 more?
Yeah, I mean,
We
You've
can
got-
change
you got-
it. How about 350?
There you
At
go.
least. Yeah.
350, anyone object to 350 for a non-resident? 350.
Okay.
Deposit, wanna stay at 100? Yeah, I would say so. Non-resident ticket,
So that we had already voted on, I just added it.
okay.
That return check fee is that color because it has been that color. The credit card payments, is that accurate? Do you know, Rhonda?
No, it's 2.65.
Okay. And is it $1.50 minimum?
I think so, but I'm not positive. Have to look.
Or 2.65? It says well, most of the time it is worded this way. It's a minimum or
Right.
percentage. No, I'll go look. I didn't look, but I did it. Yeah, hold on, I'll go look. It's posted right outside our door out there.
most of them are about 3%.
Yeah, this one's 2.65.
And some places won't even take the card if it's less than $5.
Or take a card.
Yeah, carry a little cash with you.
Most of them won't,
What happened
won't
to Christie?
charge
I
if
hate
it's
carrying cash, but
under.
yeah, you need to.
So ours is a little different. It's $1 minimum unless you pay over the phone. Then it's $2.50 minimum, and it's a 2.65%.
Dale Bradford sent me an email, a text message. He said that they could not charge for a interpretation of a zoning administrator's decision, because if you charged for that, it would pay the higher cost,
Isn't that
and
before the meeting?
Mm-hmm.
you would always find the township always finding in favor of the administrator. It wouldn't be a fair hearing.
Was that sent before the meeting, Ken? Public comment?
He's onto something there. And maybe that's why I didn't have to pay any fee. No, there was a fee. I didn't pay the fee, but I didn't pay the fee because they never asked for the fee.
The fee for,
To appeal the zoning amendment.
even though you would have to pay all the publishing.
If you pay a fee, then you're basically, you're gonna lose, because they don't wanna pay the fee back. Does anyone charge for ZBA?
That's how I came up with it, was because I saw it all over the place.
Maybe we should check with MTA or the attorney. It might be worth knowing, so we don't get ourselves in a problem.
Well, we don't wanna get in trouble. Bradford's got a good point.
Well, my suggestion would be that it's easier to remove it than it is to add it. So I would suggest that we just add it now. We'll talk to the attorney. If the attorney says we can't charge it, then we don't charge it.
I'm okay with that. You don't get that many of them anyways.
No, we don't get them very often at all.
Be rare. Okay, that sounds good. I can live with that. You're making that an action item, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I missed the FOIA part. What, portable flash drive, FOIA, what?
That's just if people, instead of me emailing them, if they say they want a flash drive, that's the cost of the flash drive.
Okay, so
You
it's
can't buy a flash drive
$10?
for $10.
Yep. Yeah.
And the FOIA hourly rate would still apply, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's just the cost of the flash drive, right?
Yes.
Well, this is a resolution?
It is. So,
But we may have to change this resolution.
no, the resolution is okay. We just, when we make the motion, we just have to say as amended.
Based on attorney
On
for
the zoning, yeah.
Yeah,
any
and that.
actions that we have.
So, yep, as the board has amended and dependent upon attorney review.
Okay.
Tara, that was.
Did you make a motion?
That?
Motion to approve the document as amended
Yeah.
So I got a motion from Christie?
I made the motion.
I second.
Christie made it.
I second.
Got lost here. Christie, Rhonda, second. Roll call vote. Gary?
What's the reading of the motion?
I was gonna say, let me state it, okay? So, I will move to approve resolution 2022-027, a resolution to adopt the township fee schedule as board amended upon approval of the township attorney.
Maybe review from the township attorney.
Upon review from the township attorney. There we go.
He's gonna review the ZBA or zoning administrator fee.
Amended.
Okay, Christie made it. Rhonda, you still got the, second on it? Gary?
Yes.
Rhonda?
Yeah.
Christie?
Yes.
Bev?
Yeah.
And Ken? Oh, let me see now, because mine's all out of...
J.
Yeah.
J2.
Oh, J.
It's got ski, all field maintenance and repair. Well, I got out and cut the fields with my tractor, and, I found the old, moon dust to be in good shape about 2 inches down. So I skimmed off 2 inches off the baselines and put the new moon grass down. And I took the stuff, it looks like it was like when they were, cleaning up the field and raking it and making it smooth and all that, they just moved dirt into the baseline. So I took that the stuff I took off the baseline, I put it into the field where it had a low spot, and I think we're gonna have to purchase some oil and some grass seed and some straw for September to put that in. I think you're probably gonna have, about 40 yards of topsoil, which is probably gonna run somewhere around $600 to $700. You're probably gonna, grass seed's gonna cost you somewhere around $200, and the straw is gonna be about $100. So you have about $1,000 that will be needed to do that, if you wanna have that done to have grass next spring. I do have a little bit more moon grass left, and I was gonna cut a little bit more around the back side of the baseline between first base and third to give the shortstop moon dust for, picking up balls. Did I give you a price? Do we have a price in there?
No, we have a budget amount of $1,600.
We have a budget amount of
to spend on
$1,600.
recreation. Mhm.
Yeah.
There's a good local place to buy grass seed, Ken. They're pretty reasonable, that Nutrient Ag Solutions over on 215 and 28th. They sell.
What is it?
They changed names now. It's called Nutrient Ag Solutions. I forgot what it was.
Used to be green blue or
before.
something, blue green or something like that? Green tree or?
Something, right on the, yeah, it used to be green, yeah.
Anyways,
What's the budget amount?
we have 1,600 in the budget, and that would take about 1,000 of it to do it.
And we'll probably end up spending the majority of the rest on replacing the bases, or at least the foundations for the bases, because they're missing.
Yeah. I did find a white pipe stuck in the ground where they're supposed to be,
Yeah.
but the white pipe ain't gonna do any good. So, does anyone want to have grass on the infield?
Yeah, I don't.
Would it
Can I
be
get a
better to
motion?
do it now or in the spring?
I gotta do it in September.
September.
Grass grows,
No, I know, but I'm saying.
September is the best time, about the middle of September, I would have to get it planted, get straw put on it, hopefully get a little water on it before the temperature starts going from cold to hot.
Hot to cold.
Hot, cold. Anyone want to entertain a motion?
What do we want, do we need a motion? What do you want the motion to state?
Well, would we need a motion to spend the money on the grass and that, or we got something else we want to spend it on?
You don't, according to our purchasing policy, you don't need a motion.
I don't need a motion? Does anyone have a problem if I do that? Yes? No? Yes? No?
No, I think the ballpark
Do it.
should be finished.
Okay, I'll take it. No action required. Oh, by the way, I bought a dozer. A 450B John Deere.
Why don't you buy an excavator?
It's got a tilt blade on it.
That's not on our agenda, sir.
Yeah, well, the baseball field might have some use for it to level the outfield. Combined Board Commissions Meeting Training.
Mhm.
Is this a joint, meeting with the board and the planning commission?
Nope. Yes.
Sort of.
No, sort of.
Well, you know, we really do need that, and we're gonna have training at the same time?
Yeah, so Bev and I have been talking a bit.
Yeah. So, we would do a day-long training. We would share the morning. You guys have this handout, right? The morning we would share with, other surrounding townships to do some, OMA training and maybe some how to run a meeting training. And the idea is to, foster some goodwill among the townships. And then we would have for us, the board, a strategic planning session to create a vision and a mission statement and to help us define some goals for the rest of our terms that we have left. Hoping that in doing so, we will, become a stronger team, get some focus on what are our and, move ahead on those. And we put a proposed schedule on here. This is, all subject to change. And we don't have any dollar amounts yet, because we'll have to shop around to see if we can find appropriate presenters that at a reasonable cost, and then there would.
We could go a couple of townships around, and ask about that. We do have limited seating, so we'll have to, limit their seats. Our planning commissions, our ZBA, anybody that we have on committees should be invited. And then there's I think OMA is a really big one. It's not just for our community, but for many other communities, OMA is a challenge. So that was kind of the first thing we thought would be helpful. But there would be room in the morning where we could add some other, maybe hot topics. And we really wanted to be able to break down by position so that maybe supervisors could get specific direction about how to run a meeting and how to do whatever. And, clerks and deputy clerks might get a little bit of instruction on how to write minutes and that kind of thing. It's kind of a 101 type thing, but more intimate so that you have a chance to, dig in a little deeper. And then again, we'd be open to other topics that we would then reach out. We were thinking the morning might be more, we could reach to possibly our attorneys and see what they could provide and what that cost would be, and again, divide it up over the neighboring communities that might be willing to participate. Afternoon, strategic planning.
Yeah, that would be,
that would be, just us. We wouldn't have the neighboring communities attend. Probably the planning commission would still be good to have there, and potentially chairs from other committees or whatever. And we would have a facilitator for strategic planning if we can, if it's not going to be cost prohibitive.
and we were thinking possibly February, a day in February to give us time to pull it together, but, these were just thoughts on what we thought it might accomplish. And it's kind of like so you guys know for a long time I've been saying we need this board retreat day, things like that. So, this would be a way to kind of accomplish that, but as a working day. So we'd be getting an end goal at the same time.
And, for the afternoon facilitator, we've thrown around a couple ideas to potentially keep costs very low or maybe even no cost if we're lucky. But that is normally something that would be fairly pricey typically, to have somebody facilitate a strategic planning session. But I think we can use some resources and benefit from the resources that we have at a low to no cost. So we were just looking to see if this is something the board would like us to move forward with.
I think there's, somebody that will come to our township with a free OMA class out of the state.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'll have to remember, I went to one of those over in, Saugatuck area.
That would be awesome.
Yep.
So one of the things we were thinking is, we've only got, as this makeup of this version of the Columbia Township Board, we've only got like 2 years left. There's a lot of things we wanted to do. If we prioritize our goals and focus, then it will help us get some of them done.
Yep.
And a strategic plan is a way that a lot of places accomplish that. And at the same time, we don't spend much time together as a group not doing this here. So it might be an additional benefit in there from that.
Okay, this was just for discussion, right?
Yeah, it's just to see if the board wants us to, if we invest the time in it, does the board see it as a benefit and want us to move forward with it?
I think it could be beneficial. Gary,
I don't have any.
look into it some more and get back to us. How about that?
Sounds good.
Moving on. Hall security cameras discussion. How many policies do we have here?
There's 2.
Huh?
There's 2.
There's 2.
I'll open it up with, if nobody else is going to, regarding,
Did it not come up?
First
thoughts
read
on
of
this.
that?
Oh, it didn't attach. I'll go print it.
The latest one isn't on there, is it?
No, it's not on there. I'm gonna have to go print it.
I have a comment here.
Pardon?
The agenda was approved with what was on it. And if this other policy isn't on here, I don't think really we should be talking about the other policy.
So I'm confused, what is?
Well, there's,
I thought there was an attachment missing.
we're missing attachment. Hall security camera discussion is still on here, but the other proposed
Apparently, there's
policy is not
another
on here.
policy that was written,
Yeah,
and it wasn't on here, and the agenda was approved with what was here. And it should have been on there, or attached, at least amended the agenda to attach that, to include that other policy.
Okay, I see the 2 floor plan thing here. Is that
Yeah.
what,
No,
that's
no,
not what they were going to
no,
get?
no.
Okay. So,
I can hear.
Thanks.
this wasn't on there, and our agenda was approved without it on there.
Yeah, I have an issue
So
with,
what I'd like to do is
Wait, hold on. An agenda is an item on an agenda, it's not an attachment. We have a whole bunch of other stuff we talked about that wasn't an attachment. Attachments are not part of the agenda. The agenda is the topic.
the agenda's a topic, but so is this, if it's not on here, if we first read for another policy, I don't understand.
I don't understand. We have all kinds of stuff that we talk about all the time that is not an attachment to the agenda. The agenda is a topic, they're topic line items, not attachments.
we're just discussing this tonight, it's a first read, right? We got one policy here, we got another one here. I don't think we're gonna read these both tonight because it's the first time we're seeing this one.
Right.
So I think what we ought to do is take these, bring it back next week. You got two things to look at.
Next week, so we're gonna have a special meeting.
Next month.
Next month. I meant month. And then we will look at these and pick one that we're going to approve, because it's gonna come back next month. The one that we have here, I'm gonna say is, it doesn't really represent what we do here. And this one is built a little bit more for us.
It doesn't really what?
It doesn't represent what we do
There are-
here and how we do things here.
And there are
You're
things in
tying
there that
in
are
too
not.
many outside people to try to do stuff that it's not gonna happen very well.
Not to mention, there are some technology statements in there that are not feasible.
There'd be some
Okay,
things we'd have to change
okay.
that. So, I'm just saying, look at both of them. When we regroup, we got this document to look at that one, and we'll go from there. So, I guess we need a motion to table?
I move that we, postpone this, hall camera security discussion along with the, proposed policy until next month.
Can I get a second?
That's it.
Rhonda, second. Roll call vote. Gary?
Yes.
Rhonda?
Yes.
No.
Christie, no. Beverly?
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go with yes also. Be the best thing to do, I guess, at this point. Correspondence, we're gonna have a committee of the whole meeting on September 9th at 1 p.m. And the regular scheduled board meeting is gonna be September 20th at 7 p.m. Gary, comments?
The only comments I actually have is, one thing I didn't bring up, I did get a hold of, Diane Ragosi because we got the 1% increase. And basically what I just asked her was, what does Columbia Township get for that? Okay? And she says, I'll read what she sent me. She says, we have not completed the 2023 budget, so I can't be exact. However, I can tell you what we will be increasing our number of care coordinators and other staff, as well as increasing our ride budget. Ramps and developments of new sites in several new areas, as well as being able to, being at all sites more than we currently are. The discussion is on the table about home delivery meals, but nothing is decided yet. There were a lot of things that we wanted to do before the election, but wanted to wait to see the outcome before we made any permanent decisions, or confirmed any budget additions. Hope this helps.
She said nothing about building that big building in Mattawan.
Well, she said the budget isn't done yet. That was one comment. The only other comments that I had was that, as you indicated, we're gonna have to watch our spending because the money isn't gonna be there. I think that, there were a couple other things I was gonna mention and not really important at this time, so I'll wait till next month. They're not time sensitive. That's
Rhonda?
all.
I don't really have anything.
Christie?
Nope.
Beverly?
Yes, the planning commission has moved our meeting night to the first Thursday of the month, starting at 7 p.m., starting September 1st. But our notes had September 8th, so we were messed up.
So what?
Starting
First
September 1st,
Thursday?
the first Thursday. And that is, that possibly could change depending on, we had an absent member. We're trying to, make sure that our new zoning administrator can attend our meetings. So we're trying to work with the schedule that she has.
Yeah, you skipped a couple
I'll
of
get
comments.
One more comment I did want to, pass on to Christy, you didn't hear, you weren't in the room. The Conservation District, they're younger, and they were just, really, they loved that our agenda and everything was online. And I did say, thank our clerk. So, thank you, clerk, for that.
Forgot what I was gonna say.
Public comment?
Public comment.
I saw the tension there, but I.
Microphone.
The tension was unfortunate, but I think the judgment call was correct. We've had, I know that what Gary put out there for the first read was giving like 2 days' notice versus 2 minutes. So I do think the supervisor made the correct call. I was happy to see the website banner utilized to announce the free dump weekend. Maybe I could talk somebody into announcing on the outdoor sign too, since that hadn't been.
It's already out there.
Is it already? Okay, good. And I know you talked about, improving the blight enforcement, which I'm glad to hear that. I think she's utilizing something very similar to what Gary's been trying to promote here for like 4 years, and looks like it's finally gonna happen. When you talked about changing the hours for some summer evening hours at the transfer station, I just wonder if Butch has been asked, or if you know if he's available, or how that's gonna work. And Ken, I also compliment you for bringing up the ball field rather than just plowing through it, and because there was money in the budget, you still knew general funds are getting low. I mean, there's all these other things to hit it, so I thought you did the right thing to bring that to the board as well. So, that's my 2 cents.
I'm advertising for a member to be on the planning commission. You'll see that in the reminder. I'm paying for the ad. I have one of the members that would like to be released, and I want to replace him with a farmer with a business background. So I've added that to it, but it would be in our best interest to advertise to see all that we get that are interested in it. In the past, we haven't got many, but it'd be good to try. That's about all I have to say. So, can I get a motion to adjourn at?
So moved.
9:28. So moved. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 9:30.
Getting closer. Said 9.
Yep. I'm gonna go home and get some supper. See what Hunter left me.
So the tree is an eastern white pine.
It's a what?
Eastern white pine. There's like a whole list of all the trees in Michigan that are in the big tree database.
And Breedsville's got one?
There's numerous in Grand Junction, but yeah, this specifically lays out the Breedsville Center.
There's not one on my property, is there? Because I took a big one down.
I don't think
It's on your property, you're welcome to do what you want with it.